Okay, back on the Sylvania. Where I'm at now is basically the recapping is done, except for some parts that I have out on order. And while I'm waiting for the order for the rest of the parts, I went ahead and unmounted the yoke off the picture tube. I now have the 17BWP4 out on the table attached to the CR70, and then the rest of the cabinet is there disassembled. So on the cabinet, I really needed to clean the safety glass. There was also some foam pieces around that go around the edge of the CRT that had totally disintegrated. So I needed to get all that cleared out, and I'll get some new foam to put back in and give the cabinet, both the top and the bottom, a good overall cleaning. So what I'm doing now is basically retesting the picture tube. You might ask, well, why would you go to all the trouble to do all the work that you've done to this set without the picture tube being tested? Well, the picture tube was tested when I originally received the set, or got the set. Probably had it 9 months now. But while I have it out and I've got it cleaned up, I want to retest and make sure that I know what I know as far as how the CRT is. So it's been on the CR70 now for about 20 minutes, cooking at about 6.3 volts. So here's where we're at. Here's our HK shorts, our G1 shorts, which are good. I did have a G1 short about 10 minutes before I started this video, and I used the remove G1 short mode of the CR70 at the same time, thumped on the neck and got that short to clear, so we're good there. And I've got great cutoff response on the tube. And so here's where we're at on emissions. Well into the good. Fairly good. And if I do a life test, we're not so good, but we're well into the good on emissions. So once I get the remaining caps that I need to put into the set, and get those replaced and get everything hooked back up, we'll be ready for a power up and then be able to compare where we're at versus the first baseline that we had on the first video that I shot of this TV. The other thing I wanted to show, I know in other videos that I talked about this circuit board and some of the solder job. I was hoping, getting ready to do some final work on this board, I was hoping to be able to show you, if I can get this camera to come in on some of these connections. There were horrible solder joints on this board, and I was going to try to hopefully get some on film. Just actually solder joints that didn't have any solder at all. Came out of the factory that way. You can see there's several components on this board that are basically just there's no solder there at all. It's amazing this TV had continuity and would even turn on. I found several places where it's just either horribly soldered or there just wasn't any solder in the hole at all. Basically it looked like they just stuck the lead into the board and forgot to solder it. There are several of them on this board. But anyway, that's, if you're ever working on a TV from this vintage, I would say late 50s, early 60s, and you encounter one of these printed circuit boards or circuit boards that they were using at this time period, you really got to go and take a good hard look at some of the connections, because there's some that it's just amazing to me that they even work. Anyway, there's a few. There's one right there, very suspect. There's one right there. See, there's just a hole there. There's been a lot I've already fixed. I haven't gone through all of them, but I will start from one end to the other and get it under the magnifying glass and make sure that all these solder connections are in good shape before I reinstall this board. And then of course you can see a lot of flux left over. That's not from me working on this board. That's from the factory right there. And over time that can become conductive and create shorts and all kinds of problems. So I will have to do another thorough cleaning. You can see there's still a lot. I've cleaned on this board twice, and there's still more to get off. So anyway, just a couple of pointers or tidbits. Those of you that have worked on these before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're new to restoring TVs, or this is the first time you're working on a circuit board from something from the late 50s or early 60s, but you've worked on 70s, 80s, 90s vintage circuit boards, it's pretty easy to use a solder sucker and work on those boards. But these boards that are older like this are very, very delicate and were very poorly constructed. So anyway, yeah, our emissions are holding up pretty good on this tube. Anything in the green and in the good, or anything in the green is good, and good is good. So hopefully once I get this all put back together, it'll be nice, not only nice and clean, but it'll play well. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.